Yo, what is up guys? It's Chris and welcome back to My Gay Online Boyfriend. The results are in from last week. As you all know, it was a double elimination, and unfortunately the two people heading to the friend zone are Austin and Ryan. Thank you guys so much for competing. I'm really sad to see you guys go. And with that, we have our final five. First things first, we got to get to this week's Cuff Power, but I will tell you guys there is a special guest coming in, so stay tuned for that. Curtis came in first, which means he has Cuff Power. This is the last week we're going to be doing Cuff Power. This week's question was, what is your most prized possession and why? So let's see what he had to say.
Hey Chris, this week I'm going to cuff Liam. The only thing I could think of was my cat, but she technically owns me, so that's not really a possession at this point. I finally did come up with one thing that I probably would run back into a burning building to grab, and that is these cases right here, which includes original copies of manuscripts and books and different writings that I have done. As for why, I mean, obviously I've spent a great deal of time and effort on these writings. The book took me almost 3 years, the screenplay almost a year and a half. So I'm looking forward to finally getting them out and released. And they're my original creations. Like, they're things that I got to put out into the world while I was here, and hopefully will be around for a long time to come.
Cuffing Liam, interesting. Also, I didn't know you wrote a book. That's pretty cool. As you guys already know, this week's competition was the poetry challenge. So the special guest we have is a bit of a, what do you call that? A poetry master herself? My mom.
Okay, you guys, Mama Stan has to vote and judge in one of these competitions, and This is the perfect one for me because I myself have written a good amount of poetry. You can head on over to Poetry Echoes at blogspot.com and see what I've written. And you may find one that was even written about Chris. It's called Nobody, and it may relate to some of you. Some of the other ones may relate to you as well. But anyway, hope you enjoy it. And yes, Curtis, you're a writer. I'm just all about that. So, Grant, I don't think has ever gone first, so let's let Grant go first today.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just about to ask. You read my mind. Yeah. All right, so let's check out Grant's poetry video.
I can do this, right? Why does it feel like such a fight? Everything I want lit brightly up ahead now turns to shadows every color just behind me. Focus. Calm yourself down. Passion never melted truth. Consider all the angles. Have you seen the news? Always more to learn. Endless. Hungry. You're not nourished. Wasting away. Frozen. In chairs. Ignoring your heartbeat. Staring into space when you could jump in. Horny. Nurture. Feed your purpose. Reaching to connect with something. Heart swells with the need for resonance. It dies or ruptures open. Empty. Let it all in. Breathe to set the weight free. Bring imperfect parts to common industry. Hurts to care, extend into the darkness. Worth it to show others that the night's not heartless. Struggle never did deter from glory. Always persevering, even if still horny. Crowded thoughts. Begin with one's the nearest. You've built tools to push through in a rhythm fearless. I can do this. Been a long time since I wrote a poem, so I thought I'd go with something that's been on my mind a lot. If you like this and you're Team Grant, then join in the group fun and vote in the polls. Thanks for watching.
Okay, Grant.
That was very interesting, Grant. It was very thought-provoking. A lot of talk about feelings and expressions, and you had to kind of interpret what you were meaning between the lines. It was interesting. I liked it.
I didn't completely understand the story, like when you were changing like the different backgrounds and outfits and stuff. Like at first I thought it was like your coach telling you to keep being motivated, but then
maybe it's his conscience.
I don't know. Maybe. I still liked it though.
It was unique.
So
good job. Okay, so let's go with Eric next.
My poem is called Tides of Love. His hair curls down the sides of his face to kiss his cheeks, just like the curling waves of the ocean, with all its peaks and falls. With eyes that gleam and glow, it's like the moon had copied his iridescence as it beams light down upon the glistening water. With a gravity so strong that keeps pulling me back in, same as how the moon pulls at the ocean creating the tides. The wind follows your command, pushing me closer like the soft, salty breeze from the ocean that draws you to its edge. Your lips meet mine with an exhilarating display of excitement, like how the sand on the shore pleads for the ocean's caress, until eventually the ocean's waves crash across the sand. Like the hurried motions of water, time passes too fast, for when you pull away, I'm always left wanting more. Like the shore, I'm left to feel an envious lust, awaiting your tidal return. Such a presence you are, so lovely is the ocean, so full of life and ever expansive, with such passion and emotion, all of your tragedy and triumph, your turmoil and temptation, with so much to be said, yet you only let out a whisper, like the gentle caress of a calm ocean licking at the sand, slowly and gradually exposing yourself. With each draw of the tide, slowly pulling parts of the shoreline into its vastness, piece by piece, gradually becoming one.
I really like the whole vibe you set up, Eric, and I really like your poem too. And what do you have to say?
Eric, that was very well said. Just a little advice. Proof what you write, because you had some spelling errors in there.
I knew you were going to say that.
That gets me crazy. But otherwise, I love the atmosphere that you set up in reading the poem. I just love its content. I think it's very deep, and it was very well written. Good job. This is really a tough competition.
Yeah.
They're all really
I
good.
also like how you put the words up so we could read it.
Yes.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Who do you want to look at next?
All right. We're going to go with Curtis. Because 3 is my
Lucky
number.
3.
Lucky 3. We're going to go with Curtis.
All
And
right.
he's always first or last. We got to put him in the middle.
Today's poem is an excerpt from a longer poem that I wrote this past weekend. I hope you enjoy it. If you'd like to hear the full version, it will release on my channel, Weathering Rainbows, right after this premiere. Hope you enjoy.
The King's Masquerade by Curtis Sunset. In the midst of the masquerade, all eyes were on the king, who needed not a mask as he searched for the one who'd wear his ring. Yet still on this night he insisted that all suitors conceal their face, for he knew that beauty alone in time would be replaced. And so the grand hall was filled with men that would bare their souls, for all would seek his affection, but only one masked man would win the role. And as they all danced and sang, the king had narrowed his choice to 5. But now had come the time for tests to see which man would make him feel alive. You see, a king well followed could have most anything. Riches, brains, brawn, and beauty were all there, but something deeper would win this ring. One by one the suitors came forth to make their case unto the king, who as they spoke gazed into their eyes, while the people cared more for the gifts each suitor would bring. First stepped forth a man whose mask was made of gold. He'd had more riches in his youth than even the king could hold. He offered the king all his money in a move everyone thought bold. But within his eyes for simple pennies, the king saw his kingdom being sold. Then a second man stepped forth, whose mask was made of heavy stones. This man had muscle on muscle. It seemed like steel replaced his bones. My king, money can be taken by brute force. Shall we see how far this man's body can be thrown? The king did laugh, but within this man's eyes, nothing sensitive could ever roam. A third man stepped forth, who wore a fox upon his face. He was clever, smart, and cunning. His brain took up a lot of space. My king, if it be your wish, I'd make both men disappear without a trace. But in his eyes was a hollow void, where manipulation filled each pupil's place. A fourth man stepped forth, who wore feathers head to toe. He was well poised and charming. He had simply stolen the show. My grace, all this toxic masculinity is a bore, for I can show you things you've never seen before, and we need only go to your bedroom, where I promise to do all the chores. The king almost went unto his chambers, but the man's wispy eyes shone through, reminding the king that whichever way the wind blew, this man would surely blow there too. No other man stepped forward, so the king called upon the last. The prospects weren't looking good. The night had almost passed. But then stepped forth the man, with many colors upon his mask. By all measures he was average, and no one thought he'd be fit for the task. But this man had stood out to the king, for he had also concealed his eyes, which piqued the curiosity of the room, for all had wondered why.
Curtis, that was my favorite submission from you out of the whole competition so far.
We have to go to Rainbow Land to see what happens, to get the rest of the story.
Yeah, I really need to know why he's covering his eyes. I really liked that. The acting was really good. Masquerade, the whole theme,
Yeah.
everything. I'll leave a link to Curtis's video at the top of the comments if you guys want to go check it out after you're done watching this or whenever. It'll be down there for you.
Very talented. Very talented. I really liked it a lot. It's
right.
a tough competition.
Yeah.
So next
two
we're gonna
left.
go with let's go with Liam's next.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hello. Before my poetry challenge, I do need to issue a trigger warning. This poem alludes or has references to the following: sexual assault, self-harm, depression, anxiety, and gender dysphoria. If any of these are triggers for you, I would ask that you do what you need to do to be okay, and possibly even not watch this if you think that it may impact you in a negative way. Thank you. Everybody watches me. Everything I do and every move I make. I am an actor on stage, and that stage is my life, and life. Am I truly living if I'm playing a character? A blown up, larger than life pastel cardboard cutout of myself. My upper middle class life, my first world problem life, the things that I am entitled to. Going to college and having a roof over my head and living as openly queer. But this life that I live is full of trials that not everyone sees. Looking in the mirror day after day, hoping and praying that the body I have changes overnight to match the one that I need when I wake up. Hoping that I look in the mirror and I don't see a patchwork of body parts, some bizarre modern-day Frankenstein's monster of a person, masculine and feminine and androgynous in all of the wrong places. So vile and wrong that I cannot help but stare, to look upon myself with eyes that can see every flaw and ask, why do you fail me? This figure is thin and parched, craving and keening for that light brush of connection, emotions and energy and warmth to flow like a river from a spring, to melt cold icy walls after a long winter. Numb hands and arms and a numb heart. Is it pain if one cannot feel it, though it leaves its mark? But touch would open that door to feelings that I have not opened, that I cannot put away after they are revealed to the world in all of their ugly and naked glory with invisible scars. Hours late at night or in the dark morning are hours that I can let my inside out. Let my energy flow free and let the mask of beauty and grace fall. Sink into the gentle embrace of the night hours. These hours can get darker. When thoughts turn to the past and shame seeps into my room, dimming my LEDs and my thoughts. I crave perfection in all I do. I strive for greatness but get caught up in the details. I want to be wanted but never seem to be. I want to be present constantly but I feel like a burden. I wish that I could cut away every evil and nasty part of myself, shed my skin and break out of this prison of pain and feeling, break away from the stifling blanket of self-awareness and be enough for everybody. Enough just as me.
Liam, that was very deep. I like the emotion. I like the blue lights you got going on. What do you have to say?
Liam, I feel like I could have a real deep conversation with you. It feels like you've dealt with a lot of hurt and pain in your life, but I just want to say that you are enough and you are worthy and you are a beautiful person. So I know life can make you feel otherwise because it is a cruel world out there, and it is especially harder for LGBTQXYZ people. So you are enough. That was really, really beautiful what you wrote. I liked that a lot.
Let's watch Dominic's video, the last submission of the week.
These are tough.
Hi everybody! So this week is Poetry Week, and fun fact about me, I actually have not written a full poem since high school. So I'm not too active in writing poetry. So this week I really wanted to challenge myself and decided to write a poem that meant something deeply to me and something about my own personal life that I really wanted to share with you, Chris, and with everybody out there watching about me. My poem that I decided to write is called The Journey, in which I wanted to tell you guys about my own personal life experience about growing up. I never really felt like I had my own defined personality. I really struggled growing up, feeling like I never truly knew who I was and what I liked because I wanted so badly to blend in with the people around me and was kind of teased and ashamed of the things that I did like that made me me. So instead, I decided to just pick and choose little character traits and things that people liked and interests from everyone around me just to seemingly fit in with the group so I wouldn't be teased and bullied anymore. It wasn't until recently in the last couple years that I really think I defined who I was and found out my own personal interests and really got a sense of self that I really never had all those years. So I really wanted to share that part of me with myself through this poem today, so I hope you guys enjoy. And who knows, maybe even some of you guys will relate. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But what if those steps didn't feel like your own? Always trying to get closer and closer, but never truly feeling like you're home. When you first begin, you feel at ease, thinking, I know who I am. This is me. But when the things you love, people start to tease, your journey begins to shift and change. Suddenly you say words that are not your own. The shoes you wear that were once comfortable have turned to stone. Each step becomes lethargic and dense, and your road, now twisted, makes less sense. Your vision becomes nearsighted and blurred, the mask you wear now making your journey deterred. In each lie you tell, your true self gets more lost. The oasis in life's great desert looking more like a muddied puddle. But sometimes tears can turn to dreams. Seeing the light in the distance, no matter how far, can guide you to become who you really are. You take off the mask for just a moment to breathe. Then feeling that fresh air helps you remember to believe. Though the desert of life is expansive and vast, you can never learn from your mistakes by living in the past. Not everyone you come across will give you a piece of your map, and some can only be found by looking within. A chosen few might even help you look, but there is no way to live your life by the book. Everyone is different, and everyone is unique. No one's journey will be the same. And some might take longer than others. And that is okay. Just remember to take it one step at a time.
That was good. I like the rhyme scheme. That is actually relatable, obviously.
Dominic, that could be a song. It reminds me a lot of it just sounds like a song to me, some parts of it. I could see refrains in there, and it's a great message, and I love the content and what the message is. It was very well written. And when did you say you wrote that? Did you say you wrote that in high school, or he just wrote it?
No, he just wrote it.
Well, you should write some more, okay? Because you have a talent. Everybody has a talent. These were really difficult. I think every single one submitted excellent work this week, and I think it's going to be tough to choose.
This is going to be a tough one.
Ones.
And also, I don't know if I told you guys, but this week is also a double elimination. And then next week will be the last video of the series, the finals. So that's going to be crazy. I can't believe the comp is already pretty much over. This is going to be a really tough one to vote. So make sure you guys vote for your favorite if you want to see them in the finals and help them win. Who is your favorite if you had to pick one? Okay,
Obviously,
of course, she loves Curtis.
But there's different reasons why I like different ones. Like,
yeah,
I think
true.
the conversations I could have with them, and if I met them, like Liam is very deep. I just can connect with him like with the pain stuff. Dominic, I think, has the humor. Curtis just has the whole package. Eric kind of reminds me of Liam a little bit. Grant, he's good too, but I can't really connect with him. But they're all, I think, just everything that they did and everything that they wrote, and even in your past submissions, you're a very talented group of individuals, and kudos for you for continuing and getting this far, because it's no small feat, and I just wish each and every one of you the best of luck.
Thanks for being a guest judge. That's all I really have for you guys this week. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Stay tuned for next week. You guys already know. StanChris, stay woke.
Peace.